So I've been trying to put together my little office to do little videos on different things that I feel like would be beneficial for other people. Some guy called me on the phone the other day trying to sell me marketing. He's probably just trying to sell me marketing, but he's just asking for advice on different things. And I told him about my YouTube channel for like sales and marketing, Master DDD marketing. And then in church on Sunday, they were talking about how to improve the culture of the ward, make it more like inviting and just have a better culture. And people gave good advice and things. There's just really good books out there with principles that nobody talked about, and sometimes they're hard to hear. But extreme ownership talks about, the leader is the deciding factor for a team. If you switch the team leader on two different teams, one that's winning, one that's losing, you switch them, the losing team typically starts winning if it's got the right leader. And that lines up also with good to great. The number one thing you need is a leader. And it's hard to tell people because people are always like, what's the secret? And Christ is the secret. That's literally what it says. And leadership and self-deception is, well, not leadership and self-deception, I'm getting to that book, but in Good to Great, it talks about how every great company has had a servant leader at the head of it. That's what makes the difference. That's the deciding factor, is the leadership. And like I was saying, in leadership and self-deception, that's the hardest part, is that people are trying to blame the other people on the team. Leaders are trying to blame their employees, and employees are trying to blame their leaders. And the difference is the leader. You are the deciding factor. And it just lines up with everything, with 7 Habits, being proactive. We talk about these things in church, but it's all just kind of I don't know, fluffy stuff, and it's hard to be well, it's your fault, especially the bishop's up there. And I feel like the bishop is the biggest deciding factor in the success of a ward. And if it's missionary focused, and if it's inviting, if it's growing, it's a leader. And so all these principles, I feel like they're beneficial, and I've been wanting to sit down and do some type of podcast or thing in my little office studio that I'm putting together. But I ain't got enough time for that. And really, I just hate the idea of being inside of an office. I just don't like being in buildings. So you're gonna get what you get, and you don't throw a fit. I'm just out here trying to get this little orchard together, doing some Hugo culture, I don't know. But I just came out and got the chickens all going. I need to go put some more water in their pond. But so I'm just gonna do it how I do it, and just record stuff when it comes to my head, put it out. Location, background, you're just gonna get what you get. You don't throw a fit. And really, I hope nobody ever watches these. These are more just, I don't know, for me, to journal. Hopefully pass on to my kids. I hope my grandkids watch these. I hope my kids watch these, because we've been learning about ancestry and history. I went to Scotland a little bit ago and learned about my ancestry, and it's man, I had ancestors that lived 2,000 years ago, 500 years ago. What did they do to directly benefit me today? do I know that they existed? Like, did they like write a message and like pass it on generation to generation? Like, hey, announcement, you are been born of this family, you are part of this group, and this is what we do, and this is our purpose, and this is our mission, and this is what we've done to prepare things to benefit you for success. Like, I'm like, man, I've got a huge head start. Like, yeah, my genealogy tracks back like 5,000 years. And I'm like, well, 5,000 years passed, but looking at it on a piece of paper, it seems like it passed pretty fast. So, like, another 5,000 years is probably going to pass by pretty fast too. And what am I doing to prepare my ancestors for that? Like, how wide is my family tree going to be in 5,000 years? And it's crazy going back in genealogy because you see these like defining people. There's like this little village next to the Atlantic Ocean, and the coal was so plentiful that they could just pick it up off of the ground and surface mine it. But then they kept going down and they hit the seawater, and they're like, ah, and then the town was nothing. Some guy came by and he was like, well, let's use this pump and let's pump the water out and we can keep mining. And they ended up mining so deep they like were under the ocean, and it was hugely successful. And just going back to like, you look and then boom, like Queen Victoria is in my family line, and you go like 2 generations back and like boom, that's where that family tree starts. And so like, what am I doing to prepare my family tree? What am I doing to be the deciding factor? What am I doing to be the leader? Like, what difference am I making? One of my favorite talks is by Kent Williams and his story, and it's called The Difference One Can Make. And it's like, what difference am I making? And just even that belief that you can, like, that's a big deciding factor in people's lives too, is they just don't even think that they decide, they just think life's happening to them. And I've been trying to follow these principles best I can, and I feel like they've been working out. I built and exited a company. I've got like, I don't know, 3 other companies now. I got a pest control company, a door-to-door marketing company, a truck parking company. I'm building a like homestead orchard and garden, chickens, preparing this area for cows, goats, to be completely like self-sufficient, off the grid, so that when everything goes crazy with AI, I can just box up in this little acreage here. Business is over there. But I don't know, just some thoughts I've been having inside my head. So I'm going to try to put out some videos on principles, some videos on good books to read. Hopefully help somebody, but it's crazy that it really all does tie back into Christ. Like, I tried being successful in business and tried to make sure like I wouldn't like fail in business. So I was reading all the business books on how to be successful, and it led me straight back to Christ. And like, you want to have a good family, you want to be like Christ. Christ was the best leader that ever existed on planet Earth. Most influential person that ever existed. And he did it through a style of leadership. And I want to practice that style of leadership. I want to follow his method of leadership. And just so happens that it ends up working really well for business and everything else. Business, your family, it's how to communicate and get along with people. Like the book, I love the book, How to Win Friends and Influence People, because once you read it, it just breaks down to charity. It's just like, treat people how you want to be treated. Give people like the benefit of the doubt, like show them love, appreciation, give them their dignity, like let them save face. It just like teaches you to treat people with respect. But anyways, there's my thoughts for today.